Hey, good morning. It is 10 a.m. and I am Genny Williams with Get a Real Estate Life. Welcome to the webinar on how to effortlessly win in 2019. If you attended the Ultimate Referral Summit last Thursday, then you know that everybody was loving up and soaking in everything that Michael Mayer said about events and how to get the most referrals out of them. And you know that time ran short at the event, which did not allow me to be able to present this information to you. So we just figured, hey, this is a great platform for us to get the 6 key factors that will help you effortlessly win in 2019 today, so that you'll have it, because all of this information is based on the struggles that you've had in 2018. And it does seem funny in a record-breaking market, a record-breaking year, to be able to say that people had struggles, but every market comes with opportunity and some struggles, and I'm going to give you, a couple of those struggles that I've witnessed during 2018 and give you some really good tips on how to help you overcome those in 2019. Part of conquering any goal, right, is identifying some of the issues that could be out there and then putting a plan in place around it so that it's not an issue anymore. The other part of being highly successful effortlessly is being very clear on what it is that you want. So we're going to go through all of that. If you know anything about me personally and what I've been doing for the past 10 years as owner of Get a Real Estate Life, I have been coaching and teaching and training agents for the past 10 years and doing their marketing fulfillment as well. Anything from branding to lead generation, and social media too. So we pretty much put marketing plans together and implement for our busy, crazy clients, because you need to stay in front of buyers and sellers. So today, all the information I'm going to share for you is great if you are a realtor, if you are a lender, or if you are an insurance agent. You can get really good information from these 6 key factors on how to effortlessly win in 2019. As we go toward the end, I have put together a whole ebook for you that you'll be able to get, and you can even dig deeper with this meat that has all kinds of extra materials in it. So I'll share a little bit about that with you, and then I'll also share with you how we can start off 2019 the right way together for the first 8 weeks of the year. So stay tuned as we get through these 6 key factors, and I'll tell you like how to get more if you're really hungry for it. But you're going to get a ton of meat out of the very short time that we have together today. So let's go on to the very first thing that you need to be aware of or do in your business. And this one is mainly for agents, for real estate agents, because the very first thing that you want to do is you want to pick the right lender. And that sounds like, oh, duh, so easy. I saw the struggles in 2019, and part of the reason that Mortgage Right brought the Ultimate Referral Summit to Birmingham is because they saw it too. The lenders were seeing issues pop up because they were having to close second deals where it fell through with the first lender. So choosing the right lender partner is vital for your business. And there are 14 good questions for you to ask, because I don't mean, hey, you like them, or hey, they've got a type of loan program that works for you. No, I want you to dig deep, because you're not looking for someone to do business with. You're looking for someone to partner with in 2019. And a lender relationship, right, comes from trust. So you want to interview a couple of people. Your phone rings off the hook every week, right? With like, can you go to lunch? Can you go to happy hour? Can you go to coffee with me? Take people up on those invites and interview them. Okay, I've got listed out the 14 questions that you want to dig deep to ask lenders, so that you can get, the better the questions you ask, the better the answers you'll get. You'll be able to decide based on these 14 questions what and who you want to partner with in 2019. Some of these questions consist of, what is the average length of time from contract to close? What is your philosophy on approval, and what is your philosophy on rejection? You know, some lenders have that mindset, and you know, there's no right or wrong either way, but some lenders have the mindset of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get these people approved. So you may have issues that come up at the very end where they just worked so hard. They probably worked harder than they would on other loans, and it just didn't happen. Or you may have a lender that says, I'm going to go ahead and turn these people down right up front because I don't want to drag anybody through a bad experience. You want to know who you're working with, and you want to know the why behind all of it so that you can keep your seller informed, or you can keep your buyer client informed. All of these things are super, super, super important. I saw a lot of situations that did not need to happen because of lenders. In fact, one of the agents that I work with, and she worked so hard to have this listing, and it sold right away, and it sold VA, and it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. You know what happens? The seller moved out before closing because the lender said, absolutely, this is not going to be any problem at all. We just need one little document signed. That one little document was the judge giving permission for her to buy a house while she was still in bankruptcy. So it never closed, and she had to go out and secure another buyer. And now the property is stigmatized because it fell through in a hot market. So you want to know exactly who your lender partners are and why, and you want to know the loan programs. I mean, there are 14 really good questions to ask that I have put together for you to be able to interview and know exactly who you're dealing with. All right, so there's one key factor. This one is for everyone, okay? And this is the whole reason why I wanted you to see Michael Mayer and us to go back through the 7 levels of communication, because I have used the systems in 7L for the past 9 years, because I met Michael about 9 years ago, in everything that we do as far as coaching and training and all the marketing that we produce, because your referrals are so important. What we have tended to do in the past few years, including 2018, is we've stepped away a lot from our relationships and our referrals, and we've gone with different lead generation sources. And the comments that I've gotten back in 2018 are, you're miserable. You're working with people who are not very loyal. Everybody's calling a son. If you are busy for 5 seconds, they're seeing a house with someone else, and there's no loyalty. And it is making you not enjoy your job and your career and your business that you've built. So it's time for us to get back to loving on the people who know, love, and trust us. And where you want to start with that is, and you may have heard me say this before because I preach it all the time, you want to start with 150 people in your database. And for you to be ready for 2019, you've got plenty of time to do that. Go find your Christmas card list, or your holiday card list, or maybe a wedding or graduation list that you've had for your children or yourself recently. Go through your gold mine in your phone. I even have apps laid out for you in the ebook that you can just click on, and it'll convert from your phone into a spreadsheet. And really, that's what you need: name, address, phone number, a meeting cell number, and you want each spouse in a relationship. So you'll have duplicate addresses, but they'll have different cell numbers and different emails. And you want to be able to send the same message to each of the spouse instead of just one. So again, they can both be included in your 150. So why 150? And if you've read 7L, you'll know that it is proven statistically. All the numbers are there. It means that 150 people know 150 people, which will make you a community of 22,500. 9,000 of those people are going to be making a move out of the 22.5, and all you need are 30, just 30, to be able to close and have a 6-figure income. And that's based on $150,000 average sales price. I don't skew anything. I keep everything very attainable and very reasonable. nothing crazy, so that you know exactly what it is that you are working with. So taking those 30 sales, right? If you want 200,000, then you know you need a database of 300. And we'll keep moving up the chain with that, moving up the ladder with 150 people for every 100,000 that you want to earn. It's that simple, and it all makes sense. But you have to do something with those people, right? What are you going to do to get referrals out of that 150 people? Well, you have to consistently communicate with or market to over a full year. And what does consistent mean? At least 3 times per month. And a lot of times that can be overwhelming. Immediately you start thinking expense. I don't have the time to think about 3 things. That's why we've done all that for you. In fact, I've created a whole year worth of a typical plan that is simple to follow. I like easy, simple, and I like as automated as possible. A couple of things that you want to think about are gifts. And you don't have to spend $100 or $200. You can later once you scale up, but let's talk about, keeping everything on a lower scale. You can do things as inexpensively as bookmarks with your name and logo on the bottom of it and a nice quote. Laminate it, and that is a super inexpensive gift. We've come up with jar openers that are less than 55 cents that even fit in a thank you note. These are things that will stay around your house, that will remind people of you, and when someone opens it, it's like, oh, how nice is that? You may be sending calendars or, football schedules or things like this. Especially calendars are super popular for the new year, but it's always fun too to take a listing and look up on the fridge to see someone else's calendar. So keep all those things in mind too, right? But you can keep gifts very inexpensively, and we love for you to have events, just like Michael was talking about, and digging deep and getting referrals from events. It can go a long way. But something interesting I want you to know is I had an insurance an Allstate insurance agent come up to me, and he said, I know someone who does events all the time. They never get anything from it at all whatsoever. That just means you're not doing it perfectly right. There's something that is missing there, where you're not taking advantage of your opportunity. It's probably very easy to tweak, but having 3 or 4 events throughout the year is also a great way to stay in touch, and a couple of greeting cards as well. So I've mapped it all out in the ebook, that I'll share with you in a little bit, that you can just copy if you want to, or you can at least spark your idea for doing things in your style and your way, because that's super important. If we're going to, stand out by building relationships again, then we got to go deep again. We got to be back, and we got to be super personal, right? Because people are throwing all kinds of messages all day long. We're throwing all kinds of messages. The ones that are going to stand out are ones that come from friends. My 19-year-old son is going to get his real estate license soon, and he said, Mom, how do people even get through making phone calls these days, because nobody answers their phone unless they know you? I'm like, that's exactly right. Everybody lets their phone go to voicemail these days. Don't recognize the phone number. But if they do know that it's attached to you, they answer it, meaning we've got to get back to those referrals. Okay, so that gives you a couple of homework lessons for you to do, and get all of that put together before the end of the year. And that is just scraping the surface on how to maximize those referrals. During one of the training sessions that I was able to do with 7L, we had about 22 people in a class, and over 4 weeks, we generated 369 referrals together. So you can do it fast. You can do it quickly, and it is so rewarding and so much fun. And that's what I want for you for 2019, not all the talk of things that have happened in 2018. So here is a huge reason that next year needs to be different, and that needs to be focused on listings. And what has happened, because inventory is so low, Whenever you've been prospecting and listings have been a little bit tighter to get or harder to get, you've just been picking up the buyers because it's an easier first meeting and helping them. Well, when 2 or 3 people want the same house, your client may not win. They also might get discouraged and end up using someone else or not buying at all. And so I've seen a lot of people work night and day to not get to the closing table. In 2019, I want you to be super hyper focused on listings and getting listings. So, where do you do that? Well, we just talked about referrals and asking people you know first. That is your first way to do that, is ask. And you want to ask on one side. So here's like your script with this. Don't ask about things you don't want. And I'm not saying you don't want to buy a client. I'm just saying that if you want listings, you want to ask that question, what 3 people do you know that need to sell a house in the next 60 days? Because you want the listing. So ask for what it is you really, really want, because the buyers will come. I think we're going to have a whole different market in 2019, and we need to be prepared for that. But the best way that you can be prepared for that is having a listing inventory. So all of your prospecting, all of your scripts will be to fill your calendar every single week with 3 to 4 listing appointments, and the buyers will come from that. So where else do you get these, right? Well, I've got a whole list of seller lead sources. Every time I'm in a room with about 200 people, I'll always ask, who in here works expireds? And there'll usually only be like one person. There's just so much opportunity out there, and I think so many times we forget who our seller lead sources are. And sorry, my phone is like going crazy over here. So, and not from questions about this either, but so being very adamant about going through those lead sources. I've got about 20 lead sources that I've put together so you can say, okay, I have gone through my entire database and asked, what 3 people do you know that need to sell a house in the next 60 days? And now I need to go do this one, this one, this one. Ooh, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. Here's another one. Makes it super easy so you'll know exactly what you need to do every week to find the sellers that you want, because that's going to make your whole world completely different in 2019. Other people will bring you the offers on that, or you will get new buyer clients off of it. Let's go back to focusing on that and making your life easier. Now, with that being said, if you're going after listings, then you may not want to spend money on a lot of buyer lead generation. Okay, so that's going to actually even save you some money there. I'm a big believer in, if this is what you want, you've got to only spend money on the lead gen and do the prospecting activities that match the outcome that you're really looking for. And that's market share, that's signs and yards, right? And relationships with home sellers. So you keep your prospecting tight around those things. And again, if you want those 14 questions to ask a lender, if you want a full database marketing plan, example of one, and you want all the 20 places that you can find sellers today, then all of that I'm going to tell you how to get in just a little bit. So the next thing that for you to effortlessly win in 2019, it's got to be focused on pricing, strategies, and scripts. Okay. Really, a script is pretty much just knowing what your job is. You know the objections that people are going to say to you every single time that you take a listing or have a listing or experiencing a listing. And you know what people are going to say whenever you ask for a price reduction. So you want to be ready for that. You want to have it, nailed down. You want to practice it, because the same questions are going to come up over and over. People are going to say, well, we just put it on the market 4 weeks ago. We think it just hasn't been enough time. What are you going to say to that? Your answer is actually your professionalism, is your expertise. And people don't want you to, based on all my research with home sellers, they don't necessarily want you to walk in and go, I don't know, what were you thinking? What price do you want? I know that's easier, But they really do want you to be a leader and work with them to get the best price. And of course, they don't want to leave $1 on the table at all. And yes, the next person that they interview, if they're interviewing someone else, probably will say they could get more for it. But you want to be able to go in and show them what your plan is, what your process is, and be able to show them the different ways to price properties, right? Whether you're using the strategy of the sweet spot to create a frenzy, or you're listing on the high side of reasonable. I just watched Kimberly Bibb do this, or Kimberly Benefield do this in a presentation, and it was beautiful. She executed it beautifully. She does that at her listing presentation every time, and she gives them an option of, do you want to go super high in hopes that people will make an offer? And I have to remind everyone that, and we have to remind sellers, we are all as consumers in an Amazon world. We don't negotiate for anything anymore. We go online and we go, that seems like an okay price, and we put it in our cart and we check out. If for some reason that price does not seem reasonable, we abandon the cart, or we just log back on when there's a flash sale. So the same thing can be said for real estate these days. So you've got to be able to prove that point at the listing table, which means with my research with sellers, they expect you to have a listing presentation. If you don't have that in place, ready, powerful, that shows your plan specifically as your expertise on how you're going to handle the listing, then get that ready for 2019. Again, you've got time to get it ready. Because you want to be, every time when you are prospecting for those sellers, you meet those sellers, you want to impress them by having a plan in place, not a 50-page plan. 3 to 4 pages is completely fine, just to show them what it is that you're going to do to get the most out of their sale. So back to strategies. Having one for sure that you believe in, that you buy into, and that you can have it scripted out to share with them. Getting those price reductions up front if for some reason the market rejects it. All of these things are super important. I've included in the ebook that I'm going to share with you audios of overcoming these objections and a couple of other scripts as well. So all kinds of meat in that you'll be able to take advantage of. This is where I'm seeing most people fail because inventory is so tight. Everybody's wanting their sign in a yard. And what has happened is houses are starting to stay on the market a lot longer because they're overinflated. Sellers also feel like because inventory's been low that they're going to be able to get way more. And right now, it's just not the case. Buyers have pretty much met their threshold, and they're savvy. They know what houses are worth because they're doing their research. So this, I would say, is probably the most important for moving your properties in 2019. We've got to get real on pricing. That means you've got to get real on working with your seller as a partner, not an adversary, to help them realize and recognize the right market price so that everybody has a really good experience. Okay, so I know I talk fast just because I want you to have so much of this meat that we cram in a short amount of time. The next thing is having a customer service plan. It's super important. Amazon talks about this all the time, about creating a customer service plan that people rave about and will share with others is your whole reason for having a business. When you go back to personalized service, I mean, people are tired of automation. They're tired of computer-generated everything. They want to hear you on the phone. They want to hear someone care about them and walk through the steps. They want an onboarding specialist. They want to have someone that is there that cares about their need. They want to have a concierge. And it's time to get back to that in 2019 and be the face of personalized service again. That's one way, if you didn't do any of the other things, that you can really stand out in 2019. So how do you build a customer service plan? What you do is go through the entire process on your end and think of all the different ways, and I get animated with my hands. Think of all the different ways that you can add in special services and surprises, unexpected. That's what will get people talking. I mean, what are ways that you can celebrate with them, hold their hand, anticipate struggles before they happen, take care of them before they happen, because that is really what a client hires you for. And that is also what will get you more referrals, because it is a really good experience working with you in particular. So I'm excited to see your customer service plans. I want to share in the success of having that completed as well. All right, so here's the last thing for you to effortlessly win in 2019. And again, you've got time to put all this stuff together. It's not that much. It's just these 6 key factors. So the last thing is being highly visible. What I'm hearing more and more is very experienced agents are losing to some of the newer agents. And that's because the newer agents know how to work social media so well. And so much of it is free. And they are on Instagram constantly talking about real estate. They are on Facebook all the time. And here's what it means to be highly visible. You do need your closing photos on there. People do pay attention to it. You can do things in your style here, and we manage people's Facebook accounts, so we know that you can definitely overdo it, right? But the way that you keep in front of people and being inescapable in a great way, and letting people know that you're busy, is by showing wonderful photos of what you're seeing as you're showing houses, or what you're seeing as you're listing houses, interviews of your clients, pictures of your clients. It doesn't even have to have you, it just has to be you in the mix. All these things stay in front of people and say and tell your audience that you're working. When you are busy in the trenches and you're working and it's not your face, like I can post for you 2 times a day and every single day, and you're still not going to be as successful or get the business you need out of it if you are not in the mix, if it is not your story. So I'm constantly begging people, send me this photo, send me that photo. Now in the ebook, I've got it all laid out. This is a successful, highly visible social media plan. So you would know, hey, I just need to do these things all week long, and you'll be able to implement that on your own easily. But it has to have you and your social media. People want to see you. They want a relationship with you. They feel connected with you through a really good social media plan. And a lot of that comes from great content as well. But you being in your element on social will keep you highly visible. Then there's some other tricks and tips that we can do using your database again on Facebook to stay in front of them through custom audiences. So just so many fun things that you can do. They're free and will stay in front of everyone, so they'll never forget you again in 2019. I don't want anyone saying, oh my gosh, one of my most loyal past clients bought from someone else. Let's not let that happen to you. You work so hard and you do such a good job for your people. I want to make sure it always comes back and pays off for you. Okay, so I shared with you how you can get, these are the 6 key factors, and I've got an ebook that I wrote with all of this information in it. It's got the 14 questions to ask a lender so that you'll know who to trust and who to partner with in 2019. It's got the complete year's database plan just spelled out. All you have to do is implement these things. It's got the 20 plus lead sources that you can find sellers today, so you don't have to even think of what the next thing is that you need to do. It's got price reduction scripts, and it's also got in detail what the pricing strategies are for you to use it. And it also has a detailed, highly visible social media plan that you can pick from that fits you and your style, because that's what's so important, is keeping you right? Personal. So it's only $29, which is crazy cheap. And you get all of this in there, including audios of scripts for overcoming objections that we put together for you. All you have to do is go to Get a Real Estate Life and look under services. And again, it's $29 and you get an immediate download of all these things that I shared with you. Look under services on getarealestatelife.com and you'll be able to get a lot of meat out of this. Now, I've already shared a ton of meat with you already that you'll be able to implement immediately. If you are ready to just knock it out in 2019, if you need more, if you want to be intense, I've got 6-figure intensity. It is 16 coaching sessions that we're going to do, which will be twice a week for the first 8 weeks of 2019, and it is super inexpensive. We've already got several people that have joined. It is $750 for the total price for those 8 weeks, and if you pay before December 10th, you actually only have to pay $500 because you get a $250 discount, which is crazy cheap. What we're going to actually be doing during those 8 weeks are we're going to be using 6-figure intensity tools, but we're going to be using 7L systems and also our signature love systems. So twice a week, ton of accountability and a ton of putting systems in place and action items. You know, I shared with you a while ago that a group of 22 people, we earned 369 referrals, which is crazy good. So you'll end up being able to pay for the whole thing by the referrals that you generate. So I hope that you'll join us. It's also under services at getarealestatelife.com. I can't wait to see what you do by implementing these 6 key factors and putting your plans around each one of them, because when you do that, you will effortlessly win in 2019. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to join our Get a Real Estate Life community, it's totally free. We teach something free every single morning at 8:15, and we're always sharing tips and strategies for you to be able to implement. So like us on Facebook, join our community for free, and I hope that you'll download the ebook and that you will join us for this 6-figure intensity, because it's going to be awesome. Thanks so much for being here today.